Good afternoon, folks, and hello. My name is Rich Longo, and I'll be your host. Thank you for joining us for another Flycast Partners webinar. Today's webinar is Bomgar, Critical Success Factors in Chat Implementation, presented by Jeremy Curley. Jeremy Curley is Director of Business Solutions for Bomgar. He is responsible for developing and providing business process and thought leadership and support center operations that will assist prospects and customers in maximizing the return on investment in Bomgar solution. He has over 10 years of experience and over 8 years leading service center operations in both Europe and North America, most recently as Senior Director of North American Services for Monster Worldwide. He has extensive experience in improving the customer experience, workforce management, quality and process optimization. He is ITIL Foundation certified and holds an MBA from Babson College and a BA in Managerial Economics from Stonehill College. Let me tell you more about Flycast Partners. We provide IT service management consulting to organizations across North America. Our clients remain ahead of the curve on technology adoption while maintaining the rock-solid principles of ITIL and practical focused projects. Our website is always monitored by our team of well-trained ITSM specialists. Please visit us online at www.flycastpartners.com or feel free to call us at 844-FLYCAST. This is just one of our weekly presentations. We encourage you to utilize our website for researching industry white papers, training that is available from ITIL to ITSM tools, assistance with professional services, a new ITSM solution finder, and Bomgar, the appliance. We actually have a webinar coming up in a couple more weeks in regards to the security and law enforcement with the appliance. I now pass it over to you, Jeremy.
Okay, great. Thanks, Rich. So based on the fact that we don't have, I think we have approximately 5 attendees, so we don't normally do this, but I want to make sure, I know you guys are taking out time of your day to attend this, and I greatly appreciate that. I want to make sure we answer some questions or concerns you potentially have throughout the presentation. And because it's only 30 minutes, I want to kind of open it up and make it a little bit more interactive. So if you have questions throughout the presentation, if you want a little bit more clarification on any of the slides or some best practices, I think Rich is going to open up the questions, and then we can, I'll make sure I address those throughout the presentation instead of typically waiting till the end, because I really want to structure this to make sure that you guys get as much value add as possible. So with that being said, so this is a presentation on 10 practical steps to successfully implement chat, really focused in terms of the IT service desk environment. So we want to kind of look at where we are today from a chat adoption perspective. So a recent survey by HDI shows that only 24% of IT service desks utilize chat. That's actually down from the previous year where it was close to 25%. So we are seeing some pullback in terms of the percentage of IT service desks that are utilizing chat. And even of those that utilize chat, only 17% of organizations are measuring tickets to the chat channel, compared to 89% for phone. So there's definitely a sense of a gap between what chat really can do for your organization and then how to integrate chat to make sure you realize those benefits and improvements in terms of your key KPIs. A lot of customers that I talk to have chat on the roadmap. They're thinking about it in the future, but they have a lot of questions and concerns about how it's going to impact their business and how to effectively add a chat channel while making sure that it improves the things they needed to improve and doesn't degrade services, phone service, service levels, resolution, and things like that. And I think chat is one of those channels where there's a huge gap in terms of what potentially the value can be from chat, but also some of the pitfalls that can occur if it's not done correctly, probably more so than any other channel that you can integrate. And then looking at ticket creation by channel, if you look at 2013, this is again HDI survey, chat only accounted for 7% of volume by channel. Even walk-ups had a higher percentage of ticket volume at 8%. So even with the implementation of chat, it's really not catching on in terms of being a significant channel where customers can utilize to get quicker resolution or realize some of the benefits on their end and on your end as an organization. So really, what's the core issue here? Why aren't we seeing more adoption within chat? And some of the key things are businesses not really understanding how chat can help. You know, flip the switch and hope that everything works out does not work, and we see some disastrous kind of results from that. And it's really being able to understand where chat adds benefit and adds efficiency, and applying that to your organization by looking at your processes, driving specific issues through chat, and creating processes to make sure that it is an efficient channel. And you know, that integration between the tool and your processes and workflow is really critical in terms of setting up and looking at integrating chat to your business. And it's a step-by-step approach, which is what we're going to go through today. Obviously, some slower failed implementation. You can experience some technical challenges in terms of some of the integration or where to kind of place the entry point for chat. And then lack of communication and direction, which is a huge one, because people are creatures of habit. And a lot of people assume that if they turn on chat, all of a sudden 60% of their volume is going to come through chat, which is not the case. And you as a business really have a lot of more influence than you might think in terms of how users utilize the different channels you offer them for what specific use cases and issues. And you want to make sure you communicate that to the end user, but also internally, how chat will help your team be more successful in their job. Those things are so important to drive usage and to keep that momentum going when you integrate chat as a channel. So the proposed solution is obviously, like we talked about, understand where the value lies and apply to your current processes. And build upon best practices and follow a proven approach is kind of what we're going to go through today. Now, the 10 things aren't all inclusive, but some of the major things that we see when implementing chat that you want to kind of look for and kind of take a systemic approach to implement chat to drive the most success. And so why should we be switching to chat support? And I think everybody kind of agrees that it adds value to the customer. Customers kind of want it. Customers are already there. They're going to your service portal, self-service portal. They're using the web to try to find answers. And then to be able to keep them within that same stream through web-based chat really adds some value from a customer experience perspective. And sometimes customers just can't get on the phone, but they don't want to submit a web ticket or an email, which might take substantially longer to resolve. They want to talk to somebody, but they can't get on the phone at that moment. Some of the other benefits, concurrent sessions obviously improve productivity. When you think about phone is a one-to-one interaction. It's impossible for somebody that's on the phone to talk to multiple people at once. Now within chat, if you set it up properly and you train properly, agents have the ability to do concurrent sessions, so more sessions at once. And it depends on how focused you are in terms of driving user behavior and the right issues through the channel. But it can greatly kind of drive productivity from your agents through that kind of concurrent session. And then reduced agent workload. Because chat is all written kind of dialogue, you can have canned messages for your standard troubleshooting or your standard kind of interaction flow to be able to kind of click one button and get that out there instead of speaking it. Obviously, you want to balance that out between personalization as well, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But you also can integrate the self-help portals in your ticketing system. Because it is all text kind of based. If you can integrate it into your ticketing system, it saves a lot of after-call work. So a lot of times when people are on phone, they might have to bring it, they might have to transfer it to other tiers. There's a lot of documentation that needs to take place after these interactions. And that after-call work takes a significant amount of time a lot of times. And with chat, all the chat logs get automatically input into your ticketing system, saving a lot of time on the back end. So, you know, in terms of customers we work with, some of the real customer results, seeing 20 to 30% increase in staff productivity, obviously with concurrent sessions and being able to resolve issues quicker, 35 to 45% improvement in first contact resolution, 25 to 50% reduction in incident handling time, and that again is through some of the concurrent sessions as well. And then a 10% improvement in customer satisfaction. I think anytime we give customers more choices and we execute effectively within those choices and have consistency of service, we should see an improvement in our customer satisfaction scores. And then when we look at, I mean, a lot of people that I talk to actually feel that chat is less efficient than a lot of other channels. And it can be if implemented incorrectly. But the study showed, this is another HDI study, that chat is actually a cheaper channel than phone or email on some of the more popular channels. And when you think about email, a lot of times it takes 2 to 3 emails back and forth to really understand, get on the same page with the customer, understand what the issue is, try to troubleshoot it, which takes a substantial amount of time. Within chat, they can get all that information right away. They can have concurrent sessions to be able to kind of drive greater efficiency and productivity. And you can see that from a cost per ticket by channel perspective, chat's actually one of the cheaper avenues to go. So jumping into kind of the 10 steps. Step 1 is really important, and not a lot of people do it. But any time you're thinking about integrating a new channel into your service desk, it's very important to create a baseline. Where are you today before you implement anything else? And really get at the detail level of what you feel, what your goals are for implementing this. What do you feel that you should see improvement in? First contact resolution, overall time to resolve, customer satisfaction. Those things are very important, and you actually want to break it down to the issue level, because you really want to understand what issues you should be driving through the chat channel where it makes sense, where the chat kind of benefits fit well within that issue and that use case to really drive improvement into your center. So you really want to have a baseline to start the project, say where are we today, where are we from a metric perspective, and then where do we think chat will have impacts, and those are kind of the metrics you want to focus on moving forward. In step 2, understand the issues you want to go to chat. So a lot of times customers, when they implement chat, they just turn it on, right? And then they really don't have control over what comes through, over the processes, over some of the things that will drive efficiency. And when you're integrating something like this, a new channel for customers, my belief is that you kind of want to start by looking at the issues, looking at your top call drivers, looking at the issues where chat will be a much more benefit than, let's say, phone. So some of those things are drive the most common issues through the chat channel, where steps are repeatable. So on a phone call, let's just use password resets, which typically always seems to be about 30% of overall volume. That goes into phone, and agents can only handle one at a time. And it takes up a lot of availability for phone reps to be able to effectively meet the service levels that you have set out. So being able to drive those kind of easier, repeatable issues to chat allows agents to maximize concurrent sessions. So when I talk about concurrent sessions, a lot of times what I see is, 2 to 3 concurrent sessions seems to work. Once you start going over that, you start having some impacts from an experience perspective. But for some of those common issues that are repeatable, you can really drive more productivity by driving those through the chat channel. Obviously, issues with downtime, such as waiting for something to download, software updates, things like that, where they can actually, while they're waiting, they can grab other chats as well. And then issues that will most likely be escalated to a higher tier. So a lot of chat tools allow for intelligent routing. So what the issue the customer selects on the front end, you can intelligently route that to specific groups. Now, you do that on phone, you have to have a very long kind of IVR messaging and menus, and it drives customer dissatisfaction. But within a chat interface, people can just select from a drop-down issue list, select what issue is. For those tier 2 issues, you can actually skip over tier 1, go directly to those the tier group that can resolve that issue. And obviously, you're driving a lot higher first contact resolution. You're reducing a lot of extra workload by having that go to tier 1. So there's obviously benefits there. And then if you do have chat integrated with your remote support technology, you want to drive issues that in all likelihood would need remote support. So a customer goes to the self-help portal, needs some help, they initiate chat, go to chat. Within one click, they can have that be a remote session. And you see a lot quicker resolution that way. You don't have to ask the customers to switch channel, which obviously drives dissatisfaction, and you can resolve issues a lot more quickly.
Yeah, with the time?
No, I mean.
And then jumping on to step 3. So communication plan. I think we have some background noise there. Alright. So sorry about that. So a communication plan, it's really important to utilize. So a lot of customers, like I said, are concerned about when they turn it on, what are they going to experience? What type of volume are they going to have? Is all of a sudden 50% of their issues going to come through chat, or is only 10%? And you have great influence on that based on communication plan, where you set the entry point for the chat. So if you want to drive just specific issues, you can put chat links into your specific knowledge base articles and route accordingly. So customers still go through self-service, and then if self-service does not resolve their issue, they can chat, and then it's only visible for those specific types of issues. And like I talked about before, you can have the drop-down list of issues on your contact page, and based on the selection, that's how the customer is routed and kind of communicate to the customer what types of issues they should be utilizing chat to drive quicker resolution for them. You know, always, like I said, always communicate what's in it for them. And it's going to differ based on whether you want a lot of your volume to start out with going through chat or just kind of segment it out. My belief is at the start, when integrating it, segment it out as much as possible, learn a lot, understand, allow agents to be able to ramp up and take more than one session, really nail down your processes, see how chat is impacting your KPIs, and then start to expand it out. And then maybe just have a chat button high up on your Contact Us page. But even the order of your Contact Us page drives user behavior. So if you put chat first, you're going to get more chat volume. If you put phone first, you're going to have more phone volume. So there's a lot of different things you can do to communicate to end users and put chat in front of end users that will ensure that you're kind of maximizing the value. And I think there was a question there. Okay, I saw a question come in, but I can answer that in a second. And then obviously communication plan. You want to you really want to update. You want to understand your customer touch points. So obviously IVR, invoices, email, text messages. So if you're really trying to drive more volume to chat, put it in agent signatures on email, potentially put it in the IVR, especially if you're experiencing higher volume one day. And then to make sure you deliver the compelling message. When it comes to end users and when it comes to your internal agents, always what's in it for me? Why is this going to add value to me? So obviously, if you're experiencing these types of issues, you'll get faster service and quicker resolution. You have the ability to multitask, obviously, that in terms of that. And then from an agent perspective, being able to reduce their workload, have a less stressful environment, and things like that. And we look at step 4, so determine staffing levels. A lot of people don't really look at staffing levels and understand how that's going to add value. But you want to really, once you understand the issues that you want to drive through chat, you'll be able to really understand the expected volume that will be coming through the channels. And then you'll be able to use that volume and adjust for concurrent sessions to be able to staff accordingly and make sure that you're not overstaffing one channel or the other, and that you're very efficient from a phone perspective, what you're expecting from phone, and then what you're expecting from chat. A lot of people take guesses, and that really has a real impact in terms of the service provided. And then you start to see inconsistency between your chat and your phone service, and customers are quick to realize that, and then they tend to flock to one or the other, which is something you do not want to have. And Rich, real quick, I see some questions coming through. Am I able to view those?
I'm able to view. Why?
No, okay. So this is just a really quick example in terms of calculating chat and remote handle time to go into staffing plans. So a phone call takes 6 minutes of time, 3 minutes of after call work, total AHT 9 minutes. Agent handles 2 chats, both take 10 minutes. So if you look at your reporting, you're going to say, oh, chat takes 10 minutes, phone takes 9 minutes. Why would we ever want to drive volume to chat? It's less efficient. But when you factor in concurrent session, the agent handles the chat that takes 10 minutes. 5 minutes into that chat, they start another chat that takes 10 minutes and work both concurrently. So really, the actual real impact of staffing is 15 minutes. The issue takes 10 minutes, but the impact of staffing is 15 total minutes. So you revise the AHT to 7.5 minutes per chat for staffing purposes only. And obviously, integration into your CRM can also include the chat logs, which reduces after-call work even further. But just to take the difference of looking at, for this customer, using a 10-minute handle time and a 7.5-minute handle time was the equivalent of 7 full-time employees, or an increase in staffing of 21%. And then just assuming a $50,000 fully burdened salary, that's $350,000 per year. So it's really important in being able to kind of see how the concurrent sessions will impact your staffing, and being able to staff accordingly to drive some efficiency. And then 6 more minutes. So, and then just the inefficiencies of phone support. So you all know from a phone perspective, I use a typical 80% of calls answered in 40 seconds for a service level. But to meet service level targets, there's a substantial amount of time where agents need to be idle. So in this example, 33% of the agents need to be idle to be able to reach that 80% of calls answered in 40 seconds. So there's a lot of inefficiency within that phone support to be able to do the one-to-one interaction, and they need to be available to be able to answer those calls quickly to be able to meet that service level target. And then from a chat perspective, you're getting the concurrent sessions. So just because they're on one doesn't mean they can't take another. Step 5, assess who should really effectively staff chat. So really, you want to build a skills matrix around chat, obviously a writing ability, keyboarding skills, how quickly they type, those types of things. And one tip I'm going to comment here is look at agents with great quality scores but lacking on phone customer satisfaction. So agents that do everything right from a process perspective, but for some reason, whether either tone or demeanor on the phone, their CSAT isn't quite as high as some of the other people. Those agents tend to make the best chat reps because they don't have a voice tone or an accent within chat, but they still have great ability from a process perspective. So those agents typically make the best chat agents. A lot of customers will just say, who are our best phone agents? Let's move those over to chat. That sometimes has very bad consequences because just because they're great phone agents doesn't make them great chat agents. And what you find is that your phone CSAT will go down and your chat won't make that up because some of the reasons that they're great, have very high CSAT from a phone perspective is their demeanor on the phone. Maybe they're a little bit more bubbly. They build better rapport, so things like that. So, and step 6, so create canned messages, intelligent routing, and you want to make sure you balance out canned messaging with personalization. No one wants to feel like they're talking to a robot. But your standard kind of interaction flow and then process steps are the two big things that you should really make sure you utilize canned messages for, which saves a lot of time from an overall interaction perspective, and personalize everything else so people feel that they're really listening to your issue. Because we all know one password reset issue does not equal necessarily a second password reset issue. So you don't want to fall in love with canned messages, but you want to utilize them effectively where it will save the agent time. And step 7, so create new processes and train. So one of the big things is I've seen some customers who agents will sit on the chat for over 30 minutes without getting a response from customers. So that automatically just takes away any efficiency gained from chat. So you want to understand some of those processes and make sure you have processes that let customers know if we don't hear from you in a certain amount of time, we're going to have to disconnect that chat. And then after that certain amount of time, apologize, let them know that you need to disconnect the chat, but have them offer them to contact you back if they still are experiencing that issue, to make sure that you keep that efficiency and you don't have extremely long interactions just because the end user is not responsive. But obviously, when to escalate, make sure you add chat as the source and ticketing system, what to do in between chats, whether they can work on web tickets, other things like that. Then obviously when to elevate to remote support if you have that capability. And then obviously documentation and the best practices around when to use canned scripts and when to personalize. And then obviously agent development and training, off of that a little bit. Make sure you're developing agent skills through training and train to impact customer experience. So there's a lot of different things when people are typing versus people talking on the phone. So you really want to understand chat etiquette, make sure grammar is appropriate, make sure they're using the right canned messages, make sure that they're writing in a way that's really succinct and to the point and resolves issues quicker, and then obviously just the conversational flow and things like that. So. And then where possible, you really want to make sure you integrate as much as possible. And this is really true with all tools. But when you think about front-end support, self-service, being able to flow into chat, if you have remote controls or remote support capabilities, having that integrated really drives a seamless experience for the end user. So they're already on the web page. They can click a button, get somebody to help them. The person can automatically click a button, get into remote support to drive quicker resolution and first contact resolution. They can collaborate with other tiers within that chat setting to bring in subject matter experts, again, to drive quicker first contact resolution, higher first contact resolution and quicker overall resolution. And then having the end session survey pop right up after the chat. And usually what we see with those web-based surveys is that a lot of times you see about 20% response rate, 20+% response rate, where your email surveys you're seeing anywhere between 3 and 8%. And then all that data automatically goes into your ticketing system, which saves a lot of time on the back end, like we talked about. And then just kind of be in the flow. And all integrated. And step 9, so implement chat reporting. You want to look at chat same as you look at voice. You want to have all the same data for your chat channel as you do for phone. So volume at the daily, weekly, monthly, hourly level to be able to build staffing requirements, volume by group, resolution, AHT by agent, productivity by agent, customer satisfaction, trending, and then all the other dashboards. So you want to make sure when you implement chat that you're going to have the reporting on the back end to really be able to drive transparency into the channel. Because if you do not have the ability to look at that from a chat perspective, it's not going to improve. And a lot of times you won't realize the gain of efficiency you can by really being transparent, just as similar to what you would do from a phone perspective, and then really be able to understand some of the opportunities where you're potentially missing the mark, and then some success stories to share. And then final step, continuously improve. So get feedback from both your customers and reps through, obviously, CSAT data, surveys. I have done this in the past, but create a process improvement board with frontline agents in terms of how it's working, tips on some better canned messages, tips on better processes, and how you can kind of put them in a position to be more successful. And that feedback is, because they're the ones doing it every day, that feedback really is very powerful. And then obviously make sure you have a quality program in there to quality monitor, make sure they're following the right steps from a chat perspective. And then review the reporting and find areas of opportunity, and that flows back to kind of step 1, which is build the baseline. See where chat is impacting some of your KPIs, and that transparency will allow you to kind of make changes to your process, make changes to your workflow, change some communication that you have to the end user or chat placement to really achieve what you want to achieve by adding a new channel. And then continue to keep the conversation front and center. And all this data communicated out will keep the momentum going and sharing success stories, staying on top of it, because a lot of people tend to turn it on and then just hope for the best, and they don't stay on top of it, they're not communicating, and then you start to see a wide variance in terms of experience, or in terms of reps using it, or in terms of the quality of the reps that are using it, and CSAT scores. So you really want to make sure you're driving transparency there. So with that being said, any questions? Yeah.
We actually had a couple questions from Eric before he dropped off. I don't know if you got a chance to answer those or not. He wanted to know, how does the end user communicate with the service desk, and is this through a portal? Were two of the questions that he had asked.
So how does the end user, can you repeat those really quick, Rich? Sorry.
Yes, it's how does the end user communicate with the service desk, and his follow-up was, is this through a portal?
Yeah, so I mean, and those are good questions, and those are really completely customizable. So how the end user, we kind of talked about this a little bit, but how the end user will communicate to the service desk is going to be up to you and what you want to achieve from integrating or implementing a chat channel. You can just have it on your help desk portal, just where the phone is, and have a button there, click chat. You can have it in your knowledge base. You can have it as a separate portal. There are a lot of ways to be able to put chat in front of customers, and you want to do it to achieve what you want to achieve. If you only want 10% of your volume to go through, you're going to change your approach. You're not going to have a huge button on your contact us page. You might focus on your knowledge base articles to drive specific issues there. So that's kind of how customers will be able to kind of interact with the service desk.
Okay, and is there anyone else on this call right now that would like to ask a question? I have everyone in the audience is unmuted, so if you're dialed in, you're more than happy to ask Jeremy a question. Here's your opportunity. Okay, if there's no other questions with Jeremy, we do appreciate your presentation. Thank you very much. It was very enlightening. Want to thank you for taking time out of your day, folks that have joined us. Want to thank you for taking time out of your day. And just remember that you can always ask questions of us at our website. Our chat box is monitored by our ITSM specialists. And you can visit us at www.flycastpartners.com or pick up the phone and give us a call, 844-FLYCAST. We'll be happy to answer your questions. This is just one of our weekly webinars, and we encourage you to use our website for researching industry white papers, training that is available from ITSM tools, assistance with professional services, a new ITSM solution finder, and anything with Bomgar. With that being said, once again, thank you again, Jeremy. And folks, enjoy the rest of your afternoon and the rest of your week.